No, Hastings. That is not the proper route for Poirot at the moment.
Morning, Monsieur Poirot. Any more thoughts about what we found in the ruins?
Poirot always has their thoughts, Monsieur Lane. Who can tell which will prove to be most significant? What are your plans for this morning?
I've heard there's a fine church in these parts, St. Patrick in the Coombe. I'm going to try and track it down.
What illness forced you to leave your position?
It was... I confess it was nerves, Monsieur Poirot.
I did not mean to intrude.
No, it's quite all right. No sense in my hiding the fact. Women, they are so often at the source of evil.
Do you think so?
Man alive, don't you feel it in the air? All around you. We spoke of it yesterday at the ruins. The presence of evil.
Oui, Monsieur Lane, I feel it. I am able to assist you in your search, I think.
Oh?
I found this pamphlet at the establishment of Mrs. Hughes in Leathercombe Bay.
Oh, this is marvelous. And there's a map and everything. Let's see, it'll make a fine hike over the moors, too. Thank you so much.
Monsieur Lane, I wonder if I may ask you the questions somewhat painful.
Your kind gift has lifted my spirits considerably. I will answer if I can.
Your church was near Brixham, I believe.
Oh, yes, I had a small living there. Why?
Are you familiar with Mrs. Potter's School for Young Ladies?
Why, oh, yes, Miss Potter herself and several of the girls attended my church. Not as many as I would have liked, but some.
Do you recall the Conservatoire de Dance near there?
Oh, yes. Miss Brewster, who is stopping here, was an instructor there.
Does the name Millie Parsons mean anything to you?
The murder. Yes, it caused quite a sensation. A teacher at Miss Porter's was accused. No charges were brought. Simply the ruin of a man's reputation. He may have been misguided, even driven. But the Parsons girl brought it upon herself. Of that, I am convinced. And then, only a few weeks later, another murder. They must have been connected. And of that second crime, he was wholly innocent, I have no doubt. So what he said in a moment of weakness...
What did this teacher say to you?
I may no longer be of the cloth, Mr. Poirot, but I will keep the confidences learnt while I was still in God's service.
Even if it allows a murderer to go free?
Please! God must judge, not I.
Tell me of the second crime.
It received quite a bit of press at the time. Alice Corrigan was the name. Strangled, as was the Parsons girl. The husband was suspected, but again, no arrest was ever made. I'm convinced the two crimes were the work of one man.
And the motive?
Women are at the heart of many tragedies.
In this case, they were the victims of tragedy.
Can you doubt? They brought it upon themselves, through fornication, adultery, and godlessness.
It is my nature to doubt, Monsieur Lane.
Yes, of course. You're a detective. Still, I would think your experience would have paid witness to the truth of my words. I may have misunderstood and unburdened myself too freely. I must be off if I hope to reach the church and be back before it gets too late. Thank you again for the information.
Fellow is right round the bend, Poirot. He practically admitted he knew Millie Parsons' killer, yet did nothing because she was a girl, and somehow deserved it? That's monstrous.
It is true he appears to be quite selective when it comes to forgiveness and compassion. Yet it may very well be that decision to keep silent caused his breakdown. His pain runs deep, and the struggle, it continues. There may be hope for him still. Mademoiselle, if I may have a moment of your time?
I only have a few minutes, Monsieur Poirot. I'm meeting Mrs. Redfern at Sanctuary Cove at 10:30.
I will come straight to the point, mademoiselle. You were a student at Miss Potter's School for Young Ladies in Brixham, were you not?
I was. I'm not anymore, though.
Millie Parsons was a classmate of yours?
Yes.
A close friend?
Nah, not really. We knew her, my friends and I, to speak to. She seemed a harmless sort. Rather sweet, actually.
Why did you leave school?
Monsieur Poirot, I like you, but I'm not sure you have the right to ask me that question.
Did you know an instructor named Gideon Fell?
Yes, we had him for anthropology.
He was a poor teacher?
He was all right, I guess. I am very interested in anthropology. That helped, I suppose.
What most interested you in the class?
Superstition. Much of what we call superstition has a basis in fact. Religious practices and so on.
You did not like him?
At first, he seemed all right. He took several of us to the picture show to see a horror film called Curse of the Islands.
The film, it was frightening to you?
A bit, I suppose. But I found it quite interesting, actually. But then he started acting strangely towards some of the girls. He was creepy. Always making comments to girls when he thought no one could hear. Complimenting them on how they looked.
This interest, it was more than politeness?
A lot more.
Was he interested in Millie Parsons?
She told me he had followed her once in the woods. He grabbed her wrist. When she tried to break away, he said how much he liked her hair and her frock. She broke away and threatened to tell Miss Porter. She said he looked at her with his face all twisted up. It was horrible, she said.
Millie told Miss Porter of this incident?
No. One of the other girls had already complained, and she did nothing. She accused the girl of trying to make trouble for Mr. Fell because he gave her bad marks.
After Millie's death, you said nothing of Mr. Fell?
I did. The police looked into it. They said he had an alibi. But I knew. My friends and I knew. You don't believe me, do you?
Au contraire, I have known many alibis that seemed unbreakable, only to shatter as easily as glass when the right force was applied.
He did it, Monsieur Poirot. He killed Millie. I have to change into my swimming costume now. Will you excuse me?
Of course. Thank you for speaking with me.
I say, Poirot, do you think you can break this Fell character's alibi?
If I can, Hastings, Miss Brewster and the police will have their answer. The door is locked, but I can hear their voices from within. Perhaps we should listen a bit closer, Hastings.
Are you going for a swim?
Of course. It's a beautiful day.
With her?
Don't, for goodness sake, get into the habit of being jealous of every pretty woman we come across.
She's not just any pretty woman. She's different. She's a bad lot. Yes, she is. She'll do you harm, Patrick. Please, give it up. Let's go away from here.
Don't be ridiculous, Christine.
Monsieur Poirot.
Good morning, Madame Marshall. I regret I have not yet found the writer of those notes.
I wouldn't worry myself if I were you. In fact, I'd like you to forget about them.
You have learned the identity of the author?
Yes. And if there's any further bother, I will deal with it myself. Is that clear?
That could be dangerous. An argument will not assist us, Hastings. Better to comply. I will do as you ask. That is a scent most charming that you wear.
Thank you. You're very kind. It's an expensive indulgence, especially for the beach. But I like it so.
You are going for the swim?
No. I wanted to use a float.
Use this one with my compliments.
You won't be using it.
No, I am certain of that.
Do something for me, will you?
Anything. Hastings, do not become smitten with this woman. She is charming, yes, but it will cloud your ability to investigate.
Sorry, Poirot. She's just so damned attractive.
Don't tell anyone where I am. Everyone will follow me about so. I just want for once to be alone.
She wants to be alone? I don't believe that for a minute.
Very good, Hastings. You read her character well. I concur. She has the rendezvous, I think. But with whom?
Morning, Poirot. Seen my wife anywhere about?
Has Madame risen so early?
Well, she's not in her room. Lovely day. Think I'll have a bathe right away. Got a lot of typing to do this morning.
Morning, Marshal.
You look for Madame Redfern?
Christine is off sketching somewhere.
I say, it's that North chap again.
What course of action do you suggest, Hastings?
Ask Mrs. Redfern to make a sketch of him.
An excellent idea, my friend. Then Colonel Weston can send a picture to Scotland Yard for identification.
Hello? Need the sea tractor, do you?
Yes, please.
On me way. Mr. Poirot, I wanted to thank you for helping to clear up the misunderstanding between Gladys and me. How she could think I'd ever be interested in that schoolgirl is beyond me. I can't help it if some foolish child decides on her own to start hanging about the garage. I know it sounds silly, but I think she was only doing it because she wanted to pinch my shovel. Morning, sir. I was just off to do an errand. Say, you don't happen to know anything about motor cars, do you?
Yes, I do. Hastings, what is this you make me say? I know nothing of motor cars.
I do, Poirot. Let's see what he's on about.
What would you like to know?
Major Barry's car needs its points cleaned. He wants it as soon as possible, but I have to test the motor on the sea tractor. It's been a bit dodgy lately. I wouldn't want to strand anyone on the island. I'd be in your debt if you could help me out.
The young scoundrel asks such a thing of the world's greatest detective?
Hang on, Poirot. It wouldn't hurt to have a bright lad like Jenks on our side.
I see no points on the car of Major Barry. And the motor cars, they are filthy.
Nonsense. You'd think you'd never heard of soap. I've never cleaned points myself, but all we need are some instructions. The current issue of Motor Enthusiast magazine has an exceptionally clear article on the subject.